Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so I've been hesitant to make a video because the wind has been blowing that hard. This is one of the windiest days I've seen in North Hollywood, but it's kind of calm to a degree. So I'll do the best I can. Hopefully you can hear me very clearly right now. We'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, man. Lakers did not have the greatest game yesterday. Nah, not at all. I think Rui and Austin really showed up in that first half. But that second half, I think they deferred a little too much to the Stars, and the Stars didn't have it. And that's kind of how I see that. Stars didn't have it. AD was getting pushed around pretty bad, man. Yo, I'm just going to say it like this. AD is going to have to hit the gym, man. That's what I was alluding to in my very long reaction to that game. I had a lot to say after that game. I encourage everybody to go check that out. But I just think it's about conditioning. You know, I agree with Laker fans when they say that's kind of on Rob and Jeanie for not getting a center down here. I don't know how easy it is to bring in a center. I don't know if the coach would have played him properly. I don't know if he's worth the price tag. But for us and what it is we're trying to do, that piece is really, really missing. That bruiser, that big boy center that can push people around and let AD play the 4 without being a clog in the middle. It's not the easiest piece to find. So it's not like you're just gonna pluck him out of any old buddy's roster. You gotta really think looking at players like that to find them their value. But the point is, as long as we don't have that piece, we're asking Anthony to play a style of ball that's not his game, man. And as a result, you get nights like last night against players like Sabonis and Jokic and Nurkic and all their itches. So for me, it's like, all right, Anthony's gonna have to get himself together. Because we don't have the option of saying that piece is missing, and if we had that piece ain't here. So what are you going to do? You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to for me. He's just got to get in the gym and work in a different way to improve his conditioning. It's probably not the easiest thing to do. He just turned 31, 2 days ago? I heard someone say that the Lakers are probably going through a little bit of celebration withdrawal. Given the fact that it was his birthday, I don't know who all celebrated with him or not, but I don't know if it was a coincidence that players were having a bad game after his birthday, you know, that kind of thing. But I look at that as something that probably wouldn't be a great excuse, because we've been looking at this game and having it circled for weeks. We've been looking at this game knowing it was important for weeks. We know that we're 0-9 against him, Sabonis, that is, and I think we're 0-9 against the Kings at this point. They've lost 9 straight to the Kings, rather. So, you know, for us to not be ready on a game like this it's not good. It's not good for what you would expect this basketball team to be. And so that's really where I'm coming from in regards to my fandom. I told you guys, man, my whole point of view is I just come to realize this team ain't built the way I would want them to be built as it pertains to their mental makeup. Their physical makeup either, but it's more about our approach and our demand upon ourselves to overcome what it is that ultimately we haven't proven we can. To prove that you can is something to really want, and I just don't think this team really cares in that way, not in that way. And I don't really believe in it. I don't believe in the mental makeup of this team right now. I think we can have good games. We're talented. I think, you know, it's like a roll of the dice to figure out which games this team's going to show up and play hard, or which game they're going to show up and play well. But I don't really, I'm more of a consistent guy. I like consistency in what it is that I'm doing. I like fire in my makeup, is to say, you ain't going to beat me too many times in a row without me coming out playing nasty. You know what I mean? In order to at least make you feel like beating me was not something that you could do and go to sleep comfortable. Nah, you got to really feel what comes with beating me, and that's my whole point of view. I just don't think the Lakers made the night hard for the Sacramento Kings in any way. And for us to have been beaten this many times by this team, for AD to have this going around about him in regards to that player, Sabonis, for this to be how he reacted to that game and how he looked in that game, I think it speaks to a certain type of mentality that I don't appreciate in my basketball team, to be honest with you. And I know AD has shown he can show up when he wants to, but man, he didn't look like he was having a hard time just meeting the moment against a guy that has really dominated him for the last couple of weeks, or years rather, 2-3 years, however long it's been. You just got to get to a point where you look at yourself and you say, I'm not getting pushed around by this dude, and if I am getting pushed around by this dude, he's going to at least feel me a little bit. Get a little offended. I mean, I respect the professionalism that Anthony showed. He didn't take it personal. He didn't want to beat the man up or anything, but to just let somebody push you around the way he was pushed around by Sabonis last night, I don't know, man. I just don't like the mentality of the whole thing. I don't like his reaction to that narrative being out there before the game. That's not how you react to that. You come out and you push. You come out and you play hard. You come out and at least crash the boards, make it so that your passion is shown in what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I think Anthony Davis really showed a certain trait that I just don't. I don't. If he didn't prove to me that he can win a championship already, I wouldn't believe he could. And as I said before, after the bubble, it just seemed like he was comfortable. It's like the whole moral of his game was to get one championship. After that, it's like whatever happens after this is cool, because even if I fail, I've done it. And it's like, bro, if that's your mentality, then you're not the right guy for this team, because that's not. We collect championships. We're not satisfied with one. This is a failure. You understand what I'm saying? Like, not a complete failure, because a complete failure is not capturing. But to say that you can have the type of caliber of players that Bron and AD are, and then we have these type of teams like Sacramento and Denver that we're just flat out afraid of and can't beat no matter what. And then to look up and only see one NBA Finals appearance, one NBA championship, swept out of the Western Conference Finals with seemingly no path to returning to it. I mean, it's like, bro, you serious? You think we about to be celebrating that? Like, nah, man, we're not celebrating that, bro. This is not up to Lakers standards. We expect more from ourselves. We expect more from our basketball team. We expect more from the people that we expect will go up in the rafters, man. And so he's not going to be able to live this down. You can have the great game against the Minnesota Timberwolves backup guys. And granted, we really appreciate that line that you had. But to come out the very next night and get punked by the same dude that's been pushing you around, and to look like you're fine with being pushed around, I don't think most of Laker Nation identifies with that. I don't really know if we can even identify with that. It ain't even about being in worse shape than a dude, because I can be in worse shape than a guy. You know what I'm saying? I've been on a basketball court trying to push up against people who are twice as strong as me. I've done that. Maybe not after doing it 70 times throughout the course of a season, but the point is, the mentality is to try to push back, man. The mentality is to not let somebody embarrass me physically. Even if they have the strength to do so, they're going to have to face me in other areas. I'm going to use all 6 of my fouls. If that's the situation that's happening, you're going to see me. You know what I mean? And I just felt like Anthony Davis didn't show no resistance for the narrative. And you feel bad. You feel sad. You know what I mean? Like, literally. It's almost like watching somebody get punked in the streets and they don't have no fight back. It's like, where your fight back, bro? What, you waiting for somebody else to have your back in order for you to feel defended? You got to defend yourself. And that's kind of what Trevor Lane was alluding to. It's like he's not defending himself, and it left you feeling bad for him. You didn't even really feel embarrassed for yourself. It's just like, man, this person really doesn't mind being seen as somebody who would get all the worst of derogatory terms thrown in their direction for the lack of strength. And we ain't just talking about physical strength. We're talking about mental strength, mental fortitude, and resistance. Like, they already calling you this, that, and the third. And I've seen Anthony Davis play through injury to shake off the narrative that he's street clothes Davis. But as it pertains to pushing back against somebody who's strong, who he's historically supposed to be much greater than, and to have the narrative, that's what bothers me. It's for everybody to be talking about 0-9 throughout the course of the day, 0-8, 0-9, whatever it was, For you not to push back when it's time to see the guy? I don't understand that. For you not to be offended by that is a trait that I do not understand. Especially as a black guy. Straight up. I'm just gonna say it tell it like it is. As somebody that's from my community, I don't understand somebody pushing up on me and you have the narrative, everybody going around saying I'm the softest dude because I can't beat the Serbian dude. And then he pushes me around at the end of that game when I'm down by 10 or more. Like he's elbowing me in the face, he's pushing me, I'm flying off of him. And then I go into the media and say, well, he's just a physical dude, we gotta hell, I'm not saying none of that. I'm not even talking to the media because I'm too embarrassed about how I allow myself to be seen. There goes the wind I was telling you about. But I'm not allowing myself to be seen that way. And if I am allowing myself to be seen that way, I'm not going to be fine with it. And I don't know that he's fine with it, but he sure came off as if he was fine with it. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it because he's representing us doing it. The Lakers specifically. I didn't like it because he's representing the Lakers doing that. Don't let people push us around, bro. We may lose a basketball game, but we ain't getting punked. You ain't about to little boy me out here. And I'm bigger than you. I weigh more than you. I'm historically greater than you. I got a championship you ain't got. And maybe Anthony says, well, I have nothing to prove. Fam, but you look like you don't mind being pushed around by somebody who has this going on against you. It's just, it's as Trevor said, it's difficult to watch. It's just difficult to watch. You want your players to step up and defend themselves. You want your players not to completely get punked out there. And I felt like Anthony Davis let himself be seen as somebody who not only getting punked out there, but while the narrative was already that he was being punked out there before the game even started. It's like he believed the narrative too. That's what it felt like to me. It's like, damn, that's in my head. Like, damn, I really am soft. I really can't go up against this guy and have any success. And if he pushes me around, he really has an edge on me. Like, that type of mentality is just, that's worth overcoming for real, man. In any walk of life, I'd imagine. But definitely in front of millions of people when you're making hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? They play for the damn Lakers. It's just, it's for me, it's just like you just become even keel, man. You don't want to get too down on the team because he'll come back and have a career high, score 70 points, something like that. You don't be surprised if he does that. But at the end of the day, he doesn't really have it in him to show up against certain people and play the same way. Show up against teams that are going to be expected to beat him and overcome them. He gonna believe the narrative just like every other one of the fans are. And for me, it's like, man, that's not a star player, man. He may have star level talent, even superstar level talent, but a star player, he gonna feel the responsibility to respond to that narrative in a way that debunks that damn narrative. You ain't about to just be pushing me around, beating me every time you see me. Ain't none of that happening, man. It's just not, bro. I'm gonna do everything I can in my power to at least let people know I got a fire in my belly for this type of thing, and you're not gonna be pushing me around. You know, that kind of respect for self, I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. Not in this instance, not as it pertains to this particular person. And you need it. Because we're very close to the playoff time. He is our only real center. And we can't wait for somebody to come bail us out or have our backer. And whatever the case may be as it pertains to Anthony Davis against Sabonis specifically. And look, you best believe Anthony Davis is going to be getting pushed around by other people now too. It's just like any other walk of life. Once you show me that you can be pushed around, fam, never will I fear you again. Even if I wasn't the one who pushed you around, bro, you ain't about to be nobody I'm getting pushed by. Not anymore. Because you showed me what you made of. And so now when I go up against you, even if I ain't that damn strong, I'm going to have some extra oomph for you. Because you just folded over there. And that's the idea of not allowing yourself to get punked in any walk of life. Because you open up the floodgates for everybody to treat you like that. And you best believe it's going to be there for him in the playoffs. He's going to be pushing him like they never did before. That's what he's going to run into. That's why he's going to wish he didn't crumble to the floor and not get up, push somebody back. Because you're letting people feel like that's how to treat you and how to beat you. You're already talented as hell, but you got to show people that you're punk. Okay, they're going to punk you then. That's how they have to win. Because they ain't going to outskill you. So it's like Anthony he going to pay for that. He going to pay for how he handled Sabonis in this previous game in the playoffs or in the play-in tournament. He's going to pay for that. I'm just going to let y'all know. And the way that he went up against Nurkic, the same thing. He going to pay for that. In the form of other people trying him, other people looking at him like he, whatever derogatory term you want to use, treating him as such, because that's the only way they're going to beat him in their minds. And so that's what I got to say about Anthony, man. I just feel like, man, he ain't do himself no favors in the long run, not putting forth a certain level of fire for that particular matchup. Because everybody, including myself, was waiting to see how he was going to react to being down 0-9 to a certain player. It is 9. It's 10 now. But we all watching for that. And we all imagine how we want to react in those circumstances. And we also imagine how it would look in our worst case scenario. He just lived out our worst case scenario in a lot of our minds. If you win that game, you definitely gonna get a fight out of me. If I go down 0-10, everybody gonna be in a melee of some sort. You understand what I'm saying? If I keep getting beat by the same dude, he's pushing me around, busting my lip open, I ain't looking at no damn referees, I'm looking at him. The referees can't save me in that situation, nor do they care to. It's up to me to stand up for my damn self. Seriously. Yeah, he pushing me around, fam. The way he bumped AD in that fourth quarter, and it bumped him again, knocked him to the floor flying. I'm like, oh, hell nah, bro. You really getting pushed around out here, bro. It's embarrassing. So that's what I got to say to Anthony Davis, man. Not to pile it on any further, but I don't think I've seen that very often in the NBA. I've seen players get pushed around, no doubt. Shaq used to push everybody around, but not in this form, in this fashion, with this on the line, the whole status of both players being as they are. I've never seen that. And I hope to never see it again, truly. It's really, it lacks inspiration. It doesn't inspire at all, man. And that's what I got to say about that. And then LeBron James, I don't know what to think of LeBron James' situation, because he played poorly too, man. There was a certain layup that he shot that was so bad for his standards that I'm just wondering, like, what was that, you know? And of course, the narrative's going around that ever since he and Jeannie Buss sat down next to one another in Linda Rambis, that he's been in the doghouse in his personal life at home. I don't know if I can read into that or not. I don't know, but he certainly ain't look his best last night. And he did post that he was driving at 1 a.m. listening to some old Jodeci music or something, which is, you know what I'm saying? Like, why'd you post that, brother? So I just hope everything's good with him at home, of course, for everybody at home. But we got to get it together on the court, man. That's the bottom line, regardless of what people are talking about. LeBron, we can't be taking seasons off, man, and we could get mad at the team, front office, for not getting you pieces and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's you that has to run out there with whoever we put down there. And you don't have a million seasons left to throw away, so he's going to have to do more. And it can't be no games off. Or he might as well just be considering retiring, because if you're going to take games off, believe me, man, the way that it's set up for the cap and everything, LeBron James ain't going to never have another championship team if he can't drag it the way he want to be paid and who he want to play with. You want to play next to Anthony Davis and you want to get paid all the cap. He needs to get paid all the cap. It's very hard to put a good team around you, man. So if you ain't going to drag it, this might be as good as it get. And I hope he understands that. It don't have to go that way. You can take half of what you're asking for, and then we can put more talent on this team, and then you don't have to have as much of a responsibility. But if that's not in the cards, then you're going to be in situations where you're going to look like you did last night sometimes, and you're probably not going to end up with the championship no more. So that's what I got to say to Bron. I think he has to really understand that. He got to really absorb that. Live with that truth as you go into your next negotiation process. Because you can take all of our cap money, and it's going to be on you to play well even when you don't feel like it. And at this age, I don't think that's what he wants. I don't think that's what he wants. I think he wants more teammates, and I think he wants us to mortgage all of our future, with our picks to try to bring him all the stuff that he wants. And you can get mad at people for not. But at the end of the day, you are asking too much when you say that. You want us to do that. That's the truth. The very sacrifice you're not willing to make is the same sacrifice you're asking us to make. So you can guilt trip people into thinking that they're wrong for that. But if they have any sense, they'll know better. That's just the truth. That's the God's honest truth. If you're not going to take half the cap, don't expect me to mortgage all of my future. If you're going to take, or rather half of what you're asking for, which is, probably fine if you take what is most responsible for the team to build around you, then you can say, I've made a sacrifice of a divine nature. Now it's time for you, Genie, to come through and bless me. But if you ain't going to make that same sacrifice, then, why would anybody want to make that same sacrifice for you? So that's what I say to LeBron James. It just comes to a point where you got to understand, bro. People are paying you $60 million to drag a team that ain't very good to the finals. If you can't do that no more, then paying you $60 million don't make a whole lot of sense to a lot of people. If we're gonna pay for what we saw last night, it ain't worth the money. He gotta respect that. He gotta respect that for real, man. 82, both of them. You gotta understand, last night, the Lakers playing against the Kings, a team we can't beat. When we got another team like that in Denver we can't beat. What the hell am I paying for if I'm Genie Buzz? If I can't get it to be what it is it needs to be, I could take that same money, put it somewhere that does. And guys be like, oh, that's disrespectful. No, it's not. It's responsible. Because it's my responsibility as the owner in this case to provide. So if what I have doesn't provide, it ain't emotional. It's cut and dry, fam. Either you can deliver or you cannot. Now the whole system could be revamped a lot better. The collective bargaining circumstance could be more player friendly, building team friendly. And that's not something we can do anything about at all right now. So just like I said about the center position, we can sit up here and say, well, we wish we were walking through the door and get mad because it's not, but it's not going to make it come through the damn door. And that's as it pertains to Bron being able to take $60 million and us being able to proceed to bring him everything he needs to win the finals. Nah, bro, something has to give. Something has to give. No matter how angry you are about that, something has to give. So that's what the problem is right now. The Lakers are not good enough to win. They proved last night that when they face major adversity in the presence of constant failure, they're just going to continue to fail. And that's an unfortunate trait because it speaks to them not being able to overcome teams when you see them in the playoffs. We got to avoid Denver. We got to avoid Sac. I could talk about great mentality, salute to Kobe minute, all night. I could talk about what it takes to approach that team with the right confidence all day. But if guys don't have that in their heart, if that's not in their heads, if they don't believe that, if they don't, if they can't show that, then we lose. And so that's really what it comes down to. We don't want to lose. We don't want to lose. We don't want to sit up here and watch Boston get their 18th championship when we just tied with them. We just tied with them. And now they're going to move ahead of us again? That's what it looks like if you ask me. Unless Denver can stop him, I don't see nobody else in this league stopping him. And that's unfortunate. Because we're supposed to be good enough to stop him with what it is that Genie's paying for. And you can say maybe we didn't go all in because we didn't give up the picks. But all in now, for the sake of our future and everything that we could build later on, it's just proven to be something that's going to leave you at a disadvantage once LeBron leaves. And that disadvantage is going to keep us from getting 19 if we get 18. And you're going to still be in the same race against the Celtics. So if they get 19, then what? You ain't got no chance of getting 18? LeBron and AD got to know the Genie's responsible for thinking like that. They got to know that. It ain't as simple as just giving you what you want and letting you fade off to the sunset as if we fade out there too. We don't. We still got to keep going. So it's irresponsible for me to go all in for you when I still have tomorrow to consider. And so I just wish LeBron was a bit more sensitive to that. Because these same fans that he's trying to win over are the same fans who have to consider these things just the same as Genie does. And we don't want to suck in the future just so you can have what you want right now so you can fade off to the sunset as if we fading off with you. There'll be a lot of fans who do, but there'll be plenty of us who don't. Not everybody's a player fan, fam. Not everybody's just a LeBron-only type dude. And for those people who only care about you, they're just going to pick another team, and they're going to expect those same responsibilities out of another team from another player that they love. And they're going to have that same cycle. That's not our responsibility to try to make them happy in the moment when we know they ain't going to even be fans of what we do later. It's not real, man. Y'all got to understand what responsible is. And if he's going to get upset at people for not doing what he feels is responsible, he got to be willing to sacrifice and give too. You can't just put your body on the line and that's it. I'm out. So is everybody else. Everybody's running, man. The last guy on the bench is running. Jackson Hayes is running. So at some point in time, I just need Bron to, as we focus on him in this part of the video, understand what the responsibility of him as the leader of the team is. And given the fact that his life is set and his family is set, he don't need to be taking this much money from the cap, bro. He don't need to do that. It ain't going to benefit him to posture that way, not in the long term. Not when it comes to counting championships against a guy like Michael Jordan. Are you serious about winning the GOAT conversation in the eyes of everybody? You need to win more championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's a fact. We could talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about, but at the end of the day, his Laker tenure has not been very good. A lot of people are going to blame the front office, but the history books won't. The history books won't care about that. And at the end of the day, the front office may have made mistakes if he did sacrifice $30 million. That might be what he's considering. But you got to understand that those same failures are going to fall on your head for not giving up your end of the bargain to allow for that possibility. That's on you, bro. That's on AD too. Y'all want to be the highest paid guys, but ain't ready to push over everybody. You got to push over everybody. Sabonis ain't making the AD money. How the hell is he pushing AD around? If I'm responsible for making sure I push over Sabonis and I'm paying somebody who can't do it. See what I'm saying? I know it ain't that simple, but it kind of is when you really look at it. Bron say he want to be owner of the Las Vegas team that's coming up. He gonna find this out. He gonna find out how it feels to be in Genie's shoes soon enough. And he gonna be like, well, Mike found out. Yeah, okay. But when you're a player, you want him to go all in all the time, huh? Yeah, right, fam. You'll see. And then there's D'Lo, man. D'Lo's just got to continue to grow, man. He's a young man. I don't even think he's 30 yet. He's got to grow. You know what I mean? If you're going to talk to people like Dave McMenamin, you got to know Dave McMenamin's whole point of view is to get the hottest story, fam. You don't care that the chemistry in your locker room going to be screwed up because of what you say. You think that man give a damn? He don't care. And I'm not about to hold him accountable for the game he's in because that's his game. If I can get this player to say something that's going to be controversial enough, I win my game. I'm winning the sport I'm in. You know, if he don't care to win the sport he's in, that's his problem. But I'm trying to be the best I can be. That's what Dave is thinking. So when you sit down and tell Dave about some old chemistry stuff that could hurt today's chemistry, and he go and print it on a day when you really need him not to, all he doing is shooting his jump shot. You're responsible for shooting yours. And I just don't think D'Angelo Russell really understand that. Hey, buddy, what you doing in the street? Get out the street, man. Get out the street. A little puppy dog, he did it too. I think he understood what I was saying. I kid you not. I unfortunately saw a squirrel get hit by a car on the same block, so I know exactly what this looks like for a little him. Get out of the street. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make to all of you guys is this. D'Angelo Russell, you let Dave McMenamin hit a jump shot on you, bro, and as a result, I think it messed with the chemistry, and I think it messed with your gameplay against the Sacramento Kings. You may very well come back and score 44 points. You may go on this stretch where you don't shoot another jump shot for the rest of the season, because we've seen both. We really have, bro. But you can't create the environment for which your own confidence deteriorates. That's what he gonna learn how not to do, as we were talking about yesterday in that video. When you do certain things, and then it trickles down to people treating you a certain way, and then you say, as he said, public humiliation has made a monster out of me. No. Your decisions created the public humiliation that ultimately made you whatever it is you feel you are. Don't act like people just humiliated you by happenstance, fam. You did something. You did something. And that something made it so that people would look into you, calling you whatever they did. Own that and prevent it. That's your responsibility as a growing person. Everybody want to act like they're the victim. And maybe you are a victim of circumstances. But those circumstances oftentimes are created by your choices. So you're a victim of the circumstances created by your choices. Nobody victimized you, fam. Your self-destructive behavior, or whatever that would be best described, is what caused the environment for which all that happened. And this ain't no different. This ain't no different. You had no business saying all that to Dave McMenamin, or anyone else in the press, for that matter. That's in-house stuff. And what have you been called? Somebody who gives up in-house stuff. I'll tell D'Angelo, I'm not psychoanalyzing him, but I can say what I see. And what I see is somebody who keeps kicking his own behind. You may have been telling on Swaggy, but you make yourself look bad. He didn't do that. You understand what I'm saying? Let's be honest. You created that. You were hurting yourself by doing that. Nobody gonna celebrate you for doing that. Nobody, you self-destructed there. And that's what that was. A lot of people don't realize what they're doing because they think they're hurting somebody else. So you're hurting somebody else you're hurting yourself by way of using somebody else. You want to hurt somebody else and you at the same time. And a lot of times we're not cognizant of that when we have that trait. Hey, nah, fam. You ever heard suicide by cop? You go there, create an environment for which the cop feels they have to use deadly force against you. And you, of course, the cop killed you. But no, you killed yourself by way of that cop. You just wanted to drag that cop into it. For whatever set of reasons. And this is a different version of that same type of behavior. To where you want to create something, throw somebody else under the bus, but then the result of what that is people looking at you like you the bad guy. But that's what your intended purpose was, whether you're aware of it or not. That's what comes of what it is you did. That's what you were shooting for. You know what I'm saying? And so Dennis Schroeder, I ain't looking at Dennis Schroeder no different way. I'm not looking at Darvin Ham no different way. And I'm not sure if I should. When considering that D'Angelo Russell was just showing us his perception of what it was that he felt he couldn't do based on relationships that weren't his own. Because Dennis Schroeder and Darvin Ham had a certain relationship, you couldn't talk to Darvin Ham? That sounds like a perception thing to me. That don't sound like that was reality. I'm sure Darvin Ham didn't say, don't talk to me because Dennis Schroeder here. That's how you took it. And then you ran with that. Told the media that as if you were throwing your coach under the bus, and the only thing that came of it was people looking at you like, once again, can't trust D'Angelo Russell. Once again, he gonna run his mouth, etc. And of course, you gonna internalize that and play poorly if my assessment of what I just saw is exactly what it was. Nah, bro. You gotta nip that in the bud. You gotta look at yourself first and say, yo, I don't want to hurt me. I like me. That's where you gotta start at. And then I don't want to hurt nobody else because I don't want to be disliked by way of my own choices. You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff D'Angelo needs to really work out, man. It seemed to me from afar. So it seemed to me. I know a lot of people like, how can you how to psychoanalyze somebody? I'm not trying to. I'm just telling you what I've seen, man. He constantly saying something and ends up making people look at him like, bro, here you go. Constantly. Just being honest. Okay, well, me too, man. I'm being honest about it. It is why certain teams don't want to bring you in their locker room. It's not because you can't play. It ain't even because you're inconsistent. It's because of stuff like this. It's because of stuff like this that we couldn't move D'Angelo Russell for the right price, or that nobody want to pay him the type of money that he ultimately wants. It's this. Sabotaging your own situation. Right after you play the best game of your career, and see that, I think, is something to read into. That's something to really read into. Right after he played the best game of his career, now this gets released. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe somebody sabotaging him because they don't like him, and that's why they released it right then. Or not, I don't know if he said it right now, and that's when it was released. Who knows? But it's something to read into. Whatever the case may be, I'll tell you all like this. Not to single out Dave McMenamin specifically, but for him and anybody else that's going to release certain things that are going to be detrimental to the team, all you're doing, Dave, is making people think it's irresponsible to speak to you, fam. You got to be very careful about dropping stuff like that. Because your forefathers, so to speak, the media people that came before you may have been able to get away with that when it wasn't so much competition. But now a dude can just go on someone else's platform that ain't a part of your conglomerate and get that same word off in a much more responsible way and don't have to go with the snake energy. You understand what I'm saying? It's too many of us running around. People like me who are doing their own thing that these players can connect with. If we get a big enough fan base, they can connect with us. They don't have to talk to you no more. And it's probably better they don't. So they can kind of control their own narratives. And it could be released in a way that doesn't just take certain things out of context and throw it out there just to garner a lot of attention. You may get a lot of attention at once, but after a while, people are going to start realizing it's irresponsible to speak to you. And they don't have to. That's the problem with what Dave did. It's like going all in the moment, but ended up having everything that you go all in with just trickling out slowly from a different hole in what it is you're pouring into. Because at the end of the day, in the long term, people are like, man, don't talk to him, bro. Don't talk to that dude. He's just going to take your words, twist them up, and release them when it's absolutely the worst time for you. Just being honest. It's exactly what I took from that. If I was D-Lo's homie, I'd be like, never talk to that man again. You see him, keep walking. He asks a question, next question. I kid you not, bro. Because you're going to mess up the team chemistry. And I tell owners the same thing. Listen, if you got media members who are going to come in here and mess up your team chemistry, what you're paying for is being affected by their actions, by their presence. Team ain't going to play as well. Player ain't going to play as well because of what they doing for themselves. They hurting your brand, Genie Bus. Dudes, these media dudes need to be very careful. And I'm not excluded from that. I'm in that same boat. But we need to understand. If you looked at it as a locker room cancer, they ain't going to let you in the locker room. And it ain't only for players. Stop all this messiness for attention, bro. End up ruining your entire credibility. And maybe, like I said, your forefathers may be able to get away with it. Going forward, no. I'm telling you right now, no. You won't be able to. It's too much competition. There's too many other outlets. Y'all better have some integrity about what y'all doing, some respect for who it is you're doing this to and for and all of that. The people that you use to get views, you better respect them more or you're going to be phased out. So that's what I got to say about that. I don't think that should have been released at all. I don't think so. Dennis ain't on the team no more. And D'Lo alluding to that in the way that he did. He ain't on the team no more. Now I am. That whole thing, that's bad energy. That's bad energy for when he sees Dennis again on the basketball floor, and it's bad energy for his coach, and it's bad environment for the team. It's all the way around bad. And at the end of the day, it's D'Lo's fault for saying all that, but it's also on Dave for releasing it in the way that he did. That's just what it is, man. So that's what I have to say about that, man. That's my 2 cents. I hope people taking me seriously because I see what coming. A lot of these media members with the big names, if people can't trust you, they're not going to talk to you. If they think you're going to release something at the worst time for the team, they're going to phase you out. It's only responsible to do so for the betterment of chemistry, man. We learn these lessons. We don't make those mistakes again. Don't be the mistake. So that's what I want to say to all them clout chasers out there and these guys who want to stay close to the team but only want to throw players under the bus by way of players that don't know no better. They start learning better. And they start spreading that word. Talk to him. So yeah, that's one of them type of situations, man. And see, I'm not in that business, so it don't hurt me to say that. It's not in my worst interest to speak on stuff like that. A lot of people think the same way I do. They want to be in the game. So they ain't gonna say that. Me, I don't care about a damn game. I really don't. I do my own thing. I don't care nothing about that. So I call it like I see it. And I don't know anybody, so I'm not hurting anybody in my world's feelings. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying to you guys, man. And then it just comes down to the last little leg of what it is I want to say is that our team, maybe rebuilding really is the way to go from here, man. If we can't get better, Bron's going to ask for $1 million more than what we can afford or whatever it would be. AD is going to start declining from here, continuing to be in this type of shape or worse. I can trade everything for picks, start over, and be right back on top 5 years from now if I do everything the way I want to do it. Oh, yeah. I'm just being honest with y'all. And a guy like LeBron said, well, you think you can do it without me? Cool, do it. But I'm telling you, if this is as good as it gets, I'm not doing it now. That's what I'll say to that. If this is as good as it gets, I ain't doing it now. This ain't doing it. I got 2 teams I'm terrified of. What the hell what do I need? You feel me? And I hear DTLF, man. I hear you, bro. I commented on DTLF, Dan the Lakers fan, on a random video that he made about 7 days ago or so. And I told him, I was like, bro, I want to rebuild. More or less. I said it in different words, but I want to rebuild. And essentially what he said is, you're not going to want that if once Bron leaves, it's going to suck. Like, I'm not ready to go through that. And I get that. A lot of people they want to have good moments right now. They don't know if they're going to be around tomorrow. They don't know what the team going to look like tomorrow. If you start to rebuild, it could go left. You can end up being the worst team in the world. All that. That's a risk. And not a worthy one for a lot of people who feel like Bron's going to retire soon anyway. Just wait it out. I respect that. And I see the wisdom in that. I really do. But it gets to a point where you got to start wondering if the better path really is to rebuild so you don't miss out on certain things that you're probably going to be happy with. And keep kicking the can down the road with old players that want to take up all the damn cap, living off of yesterday's, clout or what have you, yesterday's accomplishments, and you waiting for them to get too old. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to wait for homie to get too old to where I can't trade him. I don't want to wait for AD to get so far out of shape or catch on that next injury to where when it is time for me to rebuild off of his back, I can't. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I don't want to do. I don't wait for guys to get too old to where, okay, now we rebuild. Hell no, you get rid of them right before that so that you can get rid of them when you're still worth it, and that's how you capitalize on their value. So for those who don't want to rebuild, I think they're waiting for guys to get over the hump. And then they want to trade them away when they're worth PJ Tucker. And you get back PJ Tucker's worth of return. And then your team is really bad in your rebuild. So that's my point of view. It's like, yo, I ain't waiting for Bron to be worth nothing to want to start my rebuild. I ain't waiting for AD to be worth nothing to start my rebuild. I want to start my rebuild while these dudes still got some fatty to their name. Well, I can still get a couple picks for them. BDL 44, thank y'all for watching.